morning, everyone. I'm just going to give a few more minutes for everyone to hop on this Zoom. We have about 90 people so far, and we're expecting close to 300. As you enter the room, just make sure that your computer is on mute. And if you have any questions or need help from us, send a chat.
Actually. It's so funny.
Good morning, everyone. Hi. So we currently have
7 people registered. So granted, we're going to wait a few minutes for more folks to join the call. So in about 5 minutes, we will begin just to make sure that everyone who is intending to be here is able to make it before we get started. At 11:05, we will, or sooner, we will get started.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for sharing your desk, Craig, with your children. Right, we're currently at 190, 191. We'll give it one more minute and then we will begin.
Before we begin, I'd like to comment on Angelina Lorenzo's palm tree back there. Thank you for the visual.
There's so many people, I'm not sure if I can even follow.
I feel like it's a great way to imagine myself where I want to be.
Nice. Nice.
Okay. All right, so we're currently hit the 200 mark.
So we will welcome people to join as we go along. However, we will get started in the interest of time. So we ask that if you are not one of our facilitators for today, that you please mute your mics until we get to the portion where we open the forum, just so that way we can maintain the continuity of all the things we want to get through and also open up the space for you all. So Rebecca, can you get us to the next page?
Yep.
Okay, so hi, so welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for this call today. My name is Latifa Washington. I am the new project manager for the CUNY Network for College Success. So if you're not familiar with what the network does, we convene community-based organizations that provide support for college students to and through their graduation. And we provide them with information and resources regarding CUNY policies and partner with them to make sure they have the information that they can best advise students. And on the call, I will open it up to our other co-facilitators for the day.
Thanks, Latifa. Good morning, everyone. I'm Rebecca Beeman. I'm the Director of Community Partnerships for our CUNY K-16 Initiatives Department. I'm so happy that so many of you are here to join us and looking forward to sharing the resources that we've compiled, as well as hearing how everything's going on the ground with our CBO partners and our campus champions. And can't wait to see if you have some additional resources that might be helpful to the field. I'm going to pass it over to Melissa Herman.
Hi, good morning, everybody. This is Melissa. I'm the Director of Graduate NYC. Graduate NYC is part of the partnership between the New York City public school system and CUNY, and we also help to implement the Network for College Success. So we've now dedicated a section of our website around resources specifically for this time that we are living in, and so any of the resources that are shared on this webinar will be housed on our website. You can access them at any time. If you have questions about anything on there, feel free to reach out to anyone on really any of our facilitators today, but also if you have resources you want to share, please get in touch, because we can keep adding stuff to that website and make it as useful to the field as things sort of emerge and change and people develop practices for how to support students right now. And I also see people are chatting. Growing Up NYC has resources, and I'm sure there's lots of other places, but we're trying to, as much as we can, be a repository for you all that are on this call today.
Hi everyone, Charlene Diamond. I am the project manager of community partnerships with Grad NYC, and I'm just here today to help facilitate some of the conversation. So if you have specific questions, you can go ahead and chat me, and I'll make sure that we're keeping a record of that.
So yes, so because we have such a large audience for today, we are just breaking up direct private messages that you can make. So if you are, so our audience today consists of CBO counselors and staff, CUNY representatives from different departments and support programs, as well as funders and foundations that support a lot of the work throughout New York City. So if you are a funder and you have a question or a resource that you would like to share, please chat privately with Charlene, and when we get to the open forum, we can share those at that moment. If you are a CUNY staff member, please reach out to Rebecca via a chat privately if you have any resources or questions. And if you are a CBO, I guess you can send it to either myself or Melissa or to the open forum, since this is a forum that was created for you all. So we'll get started with
Sorry, Latifa,
yes.
Before you get started, I just want to let everyone know it's Charlene with an S, S-H-A-R-L-E-N-E, in case you're trying to find me.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so the forum format, just one more slide back, Rebecca. Yeah, so just an overview of what our CBOs have shared with us. That has been their response so far after we announced that CUNY was moving to remote learning. We'll also share out and address some of the questions and concerns they submitted via our survey that we created via FormStack. As well as Rebecca will go through the CUNY continuity page, as well as the FAQ document that she created and sent out to everyone via the listserv this morning. If you are on this call, but you are currently not a Network for College Success member and are not on our listserv or our newsletter, please, after this recording, email me and I can add you to our listserv and our newsletter network, so you will continue to get updates about resources we're sharing out. And then we'll also have a link at the end to the resource guide that is housed at the Grad NYC webpage. So you will have everything that you need, and I'll also send out a post email with a post survey as well as links to all of these resources we talked about today. All right, so we'll move forward. The responses that we got from CBOs regarding how they're supporting students during this transition or plan to support students during this transition. Some things have changed. When we first announced it, organizations were planning to be open, so they were planning to provide support via opening up their computer labs or allowing students to use the laptops at their sites. Since then, the city has shut down, as we all know. We're all working remotely. So what organizations have done is created needs assessments, so check-in calls or sent out an email to students to check in to see if they needed any technology support or any food or housing resources, especially for organizations that are supporting students outside of the CUNY system who are part of private colleges and SUNY colleges as well. A lot of them have also implemented virtual advising, so providing the same supports they would do on one-on-ones, but via a virtual platform. So if an organization offered tutoring, they're also offering that virtually. If they did one-on-one check-ins with students, they're also now moving virtually to do that support. A lot of organizations have also come together to crowdsource information, and they have created info hubs on their website. So in response to COVID-19, providing resources for their students to access, as well as newsletters, email communications, as well as text message campaigns, again, to get the information out there as quickly as possible to students. Referrals to housing and food banks as well has been some of the feedback I've gotten through the survey. And organizations that currently have emergency funds for college students have continue to communicate that with students as they have moved back home to do remote learning. And some organizations that currently do not have that funding in their programming are raising funds so they can better support their students. So that is just an overview of how CBOs have responded thus far. When we get to the open forum session, I will also open it up for you all to continue to share resources. But if you have anything, please chat me privately, and I can share that out when we get to that portion of the presentation.
Thanks, Latiqua. So some of the questions that we've received about how CBOs can support students through this have been around facilities and campus resources, technology, questions around grading, financial aid, and some questions about pre-college. So the document that we've put together is on the website. You'll get the link to this. You've received it earlier as well. It's in the chat. A lot of people had questions about CUNY facilities that were going to be open. This has obviously been changing on a daily basis, so we've dated this document so we can update it as things may evolve. For right now, CUNY is fully supporting the pause executive order in New York State effective last night at 8 p.m. Dorms and food pantries at the campuses will remain open, and students can check their actual campus websites for those pantry hours. Childcare centers are remaining open on CUNY's campuses. After this FAQ sheet, I'll go on to the CUNY continuity page, which has updates about childcare facilities and food pantry hours at each campus. Computer labs and libraries on the campuses have closed, except for some limited times at some campuses where they're distributing loaner laptops and tablets. And the basic operations are happening remotely at each campus with some limited presence for mail pickup and other needs. Financial aid, admissions, and human resources are maintaining telephone and email operations. A lot of people have asked about food pantries and if students can access food pantries that are not their home campus. So 4 of the campuses are providing food resources to all CUNY students. Those are Kingsborough, York, City College, and LaGuardia's food pantries. A lot of questions we've heard have been around lab courses and studio classes at CUNY and if those are still going to be required to attend in person. And as of today, that those courses will not be happening on campus. Some of them might be converting to distance learning. Students should really talk to their faculty because each course is being handled differently based on the professor's wants and needs for that. There's a little bit more information here for you on that. As for technology, so each campus has different resources available and is putting in either forms for students to fill out to request laptops and MiFi hotspots, or has sent students emails so that they can request those. CUNY is also in the process of purchasing a large amount of tablets and laptops for students who need them. That is not probably the quickest route, but students will be able to access those hopefully sometime soon. The resources that students have available to them for their online learning are all listed on the CUNY continuity page, but they're linked here for all of you to have kind of quick access to them. As for grading, CUNY is really acknowledging that this might feel uneasy for students. There might be some anxiety about moving to distance learning and how it can affect their academic performance. The university has updated the academic calendar to reflect the new dates that they've put in place. They're allowing students to submit incomplete work to faculty for resolution of an incomplete should they choose to take them for the spring 2020 semester through fall 2020. There's information on the academic calendar page for that. Students will have the opportunity to drop a course for the grade of a W through Wednesday, April 1st. Or it had been on the calendar for Wednesday, April 1st. It's being moved to Thursday, May 14th. So that gives students a lot more time to choose if they'd like to take a W. And then on our last call, we were actually talking a little bit about if counselors might be advising students to move towards pass-fail grading for the semester for classes. CUNY has extended that deadline to May 14th if students would like to change an elective course to being a pass-fail course. Financial aid. So we've had some questions about if students' academics this semester will affect their Pell, TAP, Excelsior, if HESC will be lenient. So there's some information on the HESC website about this. HESC has determined that impacted students receiving New York State financial aid will not suffer negative consequences regarding their current or future awards. There's more information on the HESC website, and we've included the link here for you. And lastly, there's some pre-college questions we've received. So for College Now, the spring 2020 semester is the same as all other CUNY courses. They've been moved to online instruction. There's no official information right now for summer 2020. And the commitment deadline for CUNY, as we all know, is May 1st. CUNY has encouraged colleges to extend past May 1st for their deposit deadline. As in previous years, CUNY will continue to operate on a rolling admissions basis and is really dedicated to ensuring that all students who want to attend CUNY in the fall will be able to. There's also a resource here to the National Association for College Admissions Counseling. They're keeping an up-to-date chart that you can click through for all of the colleges and universities across the country and how they're maybe updating their admissions policies throughout this COVID-19 season. Let's see. We're just going to walk through the CUNY continuity page that just came out on Thursday. This website has so much information for students and counselors. At the top, there is a short video from Chancellor Felo Rodriguez. There's some information about the pass, no credit, fail option, new deadline, the new deadline to drop the W, as well as taking incompletes through, you'll have time through the end of the fall 2020 semester to complete those incompletes from spring 2020. There are also some tips for students on distance learning.
Hey, Rebecca, are you showing us the PowerPoint still, or you're showing us the website?
I'm showing the website. Can you not see it?
No.
Okay. Still getting used to Zoom, guys. Are you able to see it now?
Oh, now we see it. Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Melissa. I will scroll up to the top. So I think one of the things that's difficult about this website is there's no place to click to see all of the resources that are at the bottom. So I just want to make sure you know about everything that's included on this website, because it's actually really jam-packed full of information. Here's a video from the Chancellor. The new academic deadlines that have been put in place. Some distance learning tips for students, as well as some resources for mental health, which the Healthy CUNY resources are included here, which some of you know last April we did a whole presentation with Healthy CUNY. There's some mental health tips and resources for students. And then down here are links to all of the CUNY platforms and tools that students will be able to have access to for this semester, as well as, for the most part, students have access to these all of the time. So there's Dropbox resources. Students can use Microsoft Office 365. A lot of classes have gone to using CUNY, Connect CUNY WebEx, as well as a link to Blackboard, Google Drive, the Adobe Creative Cloud, which students can use for free through the end of May, Slack, which they can use to create Slack channels to chat with their classmates. There's a little 10-minute mindfulness activity. CUNY's included some information about all of the phone carriers that are waiving late fees and not terminating any services for current customers that might be having some financial impacts because of COVID-19, as well as some online resources if students are in need of free internet. And then at the bottom here, they're keeping an updated campus information. So you can click on each borough down here and see the campus counseling center's phone number, what their food pantry hours are, and if the food pantry is open to just current students at that campus, or if it's open to students beyond the campus, whether or not the child care center is open or closed. Right now it looks like Hostos's is closed. And then there's links to each campus's coronavirus page, as well as their continuity page. Each campus has been instructed to create a CUNY continuity page for this semester to help provide resources to students on getting technology for their grades, entry, mental health resources. Okay. Going back to the PowerPoint, can everybody see that? Yes, okay. So I think now we're going to open it up to questions that people might have.
Okay, so questions. Carolina had a question regarding how does pass-fail impact the student's cumulative GPA? Emily Jimenez had a question regarding how have appeals changed to address coronavirus. And pardon if I pronounced it wrong, Leonie Amir had a question regarding students who are paying out of pocket. Would they receive a reimbursement, being that tuition is different from online courses versus in-person classes? I believe is what the question was. And Jonathan Chavez had a question regarding if students withdraw Will they still be liable for full tuition costs and receive a bill, or will the bill cost be waived?
So I think some of these questions we might have other people on the call that can answer, maybe some campus staff, and then others will have to compile and hopefully get back to you later with some answers. So the question about loaner laptops, yes, the loaner laptops right now are available on a campus by campus basis. Most campuses send students emails with links to fill out a form to request a laptop if that was something that they needed. Some of the campuses have these forms right on their website, others do not. So I would encourage students to look on their website and through their email if that's something they're still looking for. I know at Lehman, they had a form and I think the students had to request them by earlier last week. Hunter, there's still a form on their website to fill out. Have any CBO partners had success with their students getting laptops and can maybe speak to that a little bit?
Hi, I'm Miguel. I'm the one with the space background. I work for iMentor, and I was able to get a student at John Jay was able to get a laptop. But it was quite confusing for her. She had to go through like the IT help desk and like send a request online through like an email ticket. And then she called to follow up and they told her like, we have one laptop left. So I don't know if there's a shortage or what, but she ended up going that day and getting a laptop from John Jay.
Hi, this is Dara from John Jay. I'm the Associate Provost and Dean there. We had to end our distribution of laptops by Sunday because of the order in New York State, right? So it's not possible anymore to have students coming to the campus in the same volume. There is overall a shortage, yes, but a lot of the challenges with the laptop distribution had to do with getting things done by Monday. And absolutely, students are supposed to go through IT. They're the ones that have the scan codes and things like that for the laptops. IT at John Jay was always responsible for our loaner laptop program, and we've shifted from a short-term loaner laptop to a longer term so that students can get to the end of the semester. If you have students that still have laptop needs, they should still go through the same process, but we're, like everybody else, scrambling to figure out how to distribute things when students can't come to the campus in the same way. Win Ferdinand is going to put into the chat box a link to the student success FAQ page. It also has links to FAQ pages from around the other divisions of the college. So for those of you who have John Jay specific questions, you can see how our campus has addressed them, including, I see a lot of questions there on financial aid issues and SEEK and all of those kinds of things. You can get the answers for John Jay there. And if there isn't a specific answer yet that you're looking for, you can just ask the question there and someone will get back to you.
Thank you.
So there's a lot of questions that we're trying to monitor and get through. I just want to note we will be sending out a post survey. In that post survey, if your question is not addressed, please put it in that survey section And also, if you are a CUNY campus that has resources or a link to a website for resources, please also complete the post survey and provide those, as well as funders. If you know of anything that may be beneficial to the group, please just implore everyone to complete the post survey. And that way we are planning to host more of these meetups, Zooms. And so if you have any ideas for certain subjects that you would like to see us address, especially since we have a limited amount of time, please, again, I implore you all to complete the post survey. So some follow-up questions that I've been able to follow and track. If there's anyone that's a part of the SEEK office, there was a question regarding how is the remote distance learning affecting how students are being admitted through SEEK for this year? How is verification happening during this time? And then there was also another question regarding federal work study, if it's being impacted and if schools are still initiating work study if the student is already in the program.
So I see some questions about advisors and registering for next semester that I think I can answer. Advisors are working remotely. They will be contacting students via their email. So it's really important that they're checking their school email. I know that sometimes that's not something that students are always doing. So we really want to encourage them to do that because that's how the campus is going to be connecting with them the most. I have heard that students are already registering for summer semester specifically, and I'm sure they'll be starting to register for fall. I haven't heard though anything about the change, like how distance learning is changing that right now.
Emily has responded regarding the SEEK that at Queens College, they are conducting virtual interviews with students. So that's a bit of information for everyone.
There was also a question about CUNY Start, and I think there's people from CUNY Start on, if they could just talk a little bit about what's happening with that program.
Yep, and I think I saw something about work study, and I saw Dara also said this. Work study guidelines have been relaxed. This semester students are still able to get paid. They should be in contact with whoever their supervisor is on campus. But that shouldn't be too affected right now. There should still be money to pay them, and they might be asked to do some work remotely.
This is Susanna Thompson, Director of Curriculum and Instruction for CUNY Start and Math Start. You know, it's been a huge learning process for us as it has been for everyone, except that there have been some extra wrinkles because we're not, in some respects, in the mainstream of CUNY, which meant that we had to do some extra work to try to ensure that our campus sites, the teachers and advisors all had use of Blackboard. They don't all. One campus is on Google Classroom and is using Google Hangouts and stuff like that. Many of our campuses are now using Blackboard or Ultra or just the Collaborate function of it. We're also using Zoom for a lot of the instruction. As I'm sure all CUNY teachers have figured out, having synchronous instruction live in real time, in other words, doesn't work for many students, many of whom have young children at home now with the DOE closed. And also, our students don't all have great tech setups themselves, although our individual campus sites have been working hard to get laptops or tablets out where we could. We had the same issue, though, at a certain point when we could have students come a few at a time to pick them up. We were able to put this in place, but that's no longer as possible right now. So it's really a mixed bag in terms of how things are going instructionally. I have to give high praise indeed to the PD team that I work with, who have done wonderful things in supporting the teachers who are having quite a challenge right now, in that many of them have not used online instructional modes before. And of course, everyone is out there needing to figure out new ways to connect, not only with their students, but with each other. So I am in the process with my team of reaching out to all of the instructors and advisors to do via a survey to collect some information about what their instruction looks like, since it could not be uniform in terms of the delivery, because as all areas of CUNY need to do, we need to turn in fairly soon an academic continuity report. And it's very varied. So interesting times.
Yes, I've gotten an update from Hunter's advising office. So they are doing individual advising via Skype, phone, and email, and trying to transition to doing group advising via Zoom and WebEx. And they've also confirmed that Hunter is providing counseling virtually, and I think a lot of the campuses are also trying to provide their mental health counseling virtually. My assumption is that is probably through a more secure video provider than Zoom. So there's a bunch of therapeutic web providers like this, but it's a little bit more secure. So I'm thinking they're using those.
There was also a question regarding tutoring. Is tutoring happening throughout CUNY online? Is anyone from CUNY staff able to share out about that?
I'm typing a response and I'm realizing that I can just communicate with everyone. At Hostos, if you go to the website, there is tutoring online. They're asking to call a number and that you will get a response within an hour. So tutoring is happening online. I guess right now they're just assessing how many students are calling. But somebody will get back to you.
CUNY Start has math tutors in our Math Start classes and CUNY Start math classes, and reading, writing assistants who work with some of our English teachers. And each campus's staff has established times when students can call via Blackboard or other, safe ways of communicating, so no one's using his own personal number to get help. But there's also non-synchronous help via Blackboard Collaborate and other platforms from our tutors.
I've gotten a few questions about holds. I'm just wondering if there's anybody from a CUNY campus that might know a little bit more about that. People are asking if holds will be released, I guess, so students can register for their next semester.
Hi, this is Dara again from John Jay. Some holds are being released, like I would say that it's not CUNY. For those kinds of questions, you want to kind of think about campus specific things, because our contexts are all very different and our rules are all very different. But I would say that at John Jay, we've lifted things like advisement holds in order to really change the perception of barriers to registration, and be more proactive with students about understanding their next steps in light of this situation. But holds in general require a deep exploration of what is happening with the students. So some students might have holds that stem from past financial balances that go into the fall semester. And in general at John Jay, we have a practice of students getting at certain points in the registration cycle, if they owe below $500, we lift holds anyway to support them in registering. But we haven't yet worked on the fall registration. So the conversations about when to lift holds and for under what circumstances are still emerging. So for those who are supporting students, our CBO partners, to just keep your students focused on the fact that a lot of these things are emerging conversations based on the length of time that things are happening. We just pushed back our fall registration date because it would have been next week. And obviously that's not a good plan right now. So we've pushed back fall registration in order to give everybody more breathing room, but also to really think more deeply about how we can revamp our processes to be more supportive of our college community and continuity in general.
And just to piggyback off of that, this is Crystal from Lehman College. We are not waiving any removal of holds. Students still have to follow or apply or fulfill whatever hold is on their account. Students must meet with an academic advisor for one hold to be removed. For holds put on by admissions because of a name change or proof of citizenship, they have to contact admissions, send them an email with that document for it to be removed. And as far as the other hold that's common, which is meeting with a faculty advisor, that will not be removed or waived because we have declaration of major, I declare. It's students declare their major electronically, and we've been doing that for the past, I would say, year. So students must email a faculty advisor to set up an appointment and declare their major for that hold to be removed.
Okay, another question I have seen is in regards to students who are in need of support for accommodations, if there are specific resources available since everything has moved to remote learning.
Yeah, so Dara again. So our accessibilities office has been an incredible partner on this. We had a conversation with them around just sort of a needs assessment, and we were able to prioritize those students that would have needed technology in the queue for laptops. So that office was able to load their software or equipment onto the college loaner laptops. And in that case, the number was 25 students from the accessibilities office needed something that they did not have at home. So that's just one example of what we did at John Jay in anticipating the shift. But I would imagine campus specific and definitely in collaboration with the accessibilities offices.
Mm-hmm. There's also been quite a few questions about admissions for fall 2020. And again, CUNY has encouraged each campus to push back their deadline for deposit of May 1st. We haven't heard if campuses are doing that yet. I think it's a little early. Hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll hear more about that. I'm in conversation with the admissions office and they're sharing information as they get it. I think we are kind of thinking that maybe our next call like this could be more about supporting students that are in 12th grade right now going into college in the fall, and that could be a future conversation with this group.
In response, Rebecca asked about when will our next meeting be? We will we will be meeting this week to decide what frequency that we will get new information and when our next call should be, but it should be within the next week or next 2 weeks. But I am scheduled to, we're meeting with Laura Myers, who is leading our College Bridge program through K-16. Laura, is there anything that you would like to share with the group or any resources that you know about? I saw you were posting things in the chat, but I want to give you access to the mic if you need it to share out sources.
Sure, yeah. So I shared that that Seek and CD and a couple other people shared this as well, are having a central meeting early this week, and I'll be working with Rebecca Latuca, Charlene, and Melissa to make sure all those resources get out to all of you. Similarly, ASAP is having a staff meeting centrally with their recruitment staff on Thursday, and we'll share out how that impacts everyone as well. I think right now, like Dara was saying, there's so much sort of balance of what's CUNY central policy versus CUNY campus policy. And so we'll do our best to try and track both for the programs as well as for admissions and enrollment work, how things are developing as campuses start to implement central policies and central develops policies based on campus implementation. In terms of the May 1 deadline, I think across the country, we're seeing a lot of schools push back to a June 1 deadline. And so again, Rebecca referenced the NACAC site that lists out nationally what all the deadlines are as they've changed. CUNY Central has recommended that campuses change, and I was emailing with a couple admissions officers who were reminding me that like at LaGuardia and at a lot of the at all the community colleges, May 1st hasn't been a meaningful deadline, and so wanting to remind us that continues to be true, that hasn't changed. And so I think what that looks like at John Jay or at other campuses, Hunter and Baruch, I haven't looked at the NACAC website to see if that's been updated yet, but I know that there's been a push to try and get CUNY campuses to stretch back their deadlines and move them to June 1 along with everyone else. And those are all my updates.
Thank you, Laura. So since we are at our 14-minute out mark, I just wanted to share some resources that everyone had, some folks had shared. In addition to, in prep for the call that we will have regarding 12th grade admissions, it will be a similar format where there will be a link as well as a form for you all to send in questions that you may have, so that way we can better prepare getting you all resources and information and potentially creating a FAQ sheet for that as well. So look out for that later. But some resources, Devin Corrigan mentioned that Growing Up NYC has some resources available. I have copied and pasted that link somewhere, so I will be able to share that out later or add it to the Grad NYC resource page. Jerome Joseph mentioned that Calendly is a feature that can be utilized for scheduling with students virtually. So certain success programs, CBOs do use Calendly, but it allows for the students to get access to see when you are available and to plug themselves in to schedule a virtual call or a video meeting. He also mentioned that CUNY Twitter's page has been very informative and keeping up to date with different resources and different supports that CUNY is able to offer. So that's also another resource. Shuba also mentioned that the New York State Youth Leadership Council does have resources for undocumented students. And we have added that link to the Grad NYC resource page. So that lives there as well, in case you weren't able to catch that in the chat function. I think Damaris has mentioned that Calendly offers discounts for 501(c)(3)s, so C3s. So that's also an option if your organization currently isn't using that platform. So I would guess we will move on. Is there anything else, Charlene, Rebecca, or Melissa, that you're seeing that you want to address?
No, I think the only thing,
wrap up the call.
Can you see the Grad NYC webpage right now?
No, we can see the link on the
So I just wanted to make, I wanted to make sure everyone.
Okay, we're at it. We can see it now. You gotta unmute your mic.
Oh.
There you go.
So on the Grad NYC page that we've put together, why does it keep muting me? There are a few resources and emergency aid opportunities available to students and organizations. Students can directly apply to Edquity to get some emergency aid. They go right through their platform. There's a link to the Robin Hood Relief Fund, which is accepting applications on a rolling basis to provide or expand emergency assistance services, which they're considering those food, shelter, and basic needs. Initial grants are expected to last 3 months and will average $45,000. The New York City COVID-19 Response and Impact Fund will give grants and loans to New York City-based nonprofits that are trying to meet the new and urgent needs that are hitting the city. Those proposals will also be reviewed on a rolling basis. There was no mention of the monetary amount though. The Brooklyn COVID-19 Response Fund is providing grants to organizations that provide meal delivery, daily living needs, loss of wages, limited access to healthcare, paid sick leave, as well as other emerging needs. Those proposals will be accepted on a rolling basis and will be up for up to $10,000. And lastly, on our page, we have the New York City, that city contracts with nonprofits are becoming a little more flexible during this time. There's a link so that you can find out more information and see if you can make any changes or extensions to your current grants. And then lastly there's emergency aid for undocumented students being provided by the New York State Youth Leadership Council, and there's a link to that also on the page if you have students that could benefit from those resources. And then I'm just going to show you, we have some food resources. This is linking to each campus's food pantries, information from the continuity page, as well as restaurants that are donating food, Invisible Hands, City Harvest, and the New York City COVID-19 updates. Also on this page, we just have the CUNY continuity for students linked to their website, as well as our FAQs, which will update after this call with all of the questions that we received through the chat. Hopefully we can find some answers to those. So I'm gonna hand it over to Latikwa to close us out.
Yes. In regards to technology, the technology link might not have anything there currently, but if you go to the continuity page for CUNY, at the bottom, there's also a list of corporations that are offering free internet or broadband for students. Spectrum, Altris, a lot of Comcast corporations have noted that for K-12 and college students, they will be offering 30-day or 60-day setups for students for free for their households. So if you don't see anything in that link, just go to the CUNY webpage and there's some resources where Rebecca has showed you all. Okay, so to wrap up our call, just want to remind you that we will be sending a post survey. If there is any information that you want to know more about, if there's a question that you posted in the chat, but you just want to make sure it is, and I'm going to actually add the link to the chat. If there are any questions, any ideas about future web calls that you would want to have happen, please feel free to submit that to the in the post survey. And I will follow up with an email again with the links to all the resources, the FAQ sheet, the post survey, as well as the Grad NYC resource guide. If you are currently not on our listserv and you are not directly receiving emails from us and you would like to join our network and our network resources, please email me and I can add you to our listserv and our newsletter. Just as an update, within our listserv, we typically send out weekly job postings. I was a little concerned that maybe HR departments weren't continuing to hire. However, I have heard from some CBOs that they are continuing their hiring process. So I plan to reconvene that posting this Friday. So if your organization currently has positions available, please let me know. Please email me directly so I know that those resources are still active and those job positions are still available for us to share out with our network. In addition, our newsletters will probably take a new format, being that in the past we were sharing resources and internship opportunities that were campus-based. Since everything has moved remotely, our newsletter may also be more of a resource space. So as we continue to get updates, our newsletter will probably take the shape of sending out those updates via that format. So again, if you currently are not receiving any information from us directly and maybe getting a forward from one of your colleagues or your coworkers, please email me and I will be able to add you to our listserv and our newsletter. Again, please let us know in any ways we can provide support to you all as we move forward within this transition. We want to thank you all again for your time. Rebecca, Melissa, Charlene, if there's anything else you would like to share to close out?
No, just thank you all for attending, and we hope that you all stay healthy during this time and your families stay healthy. If you have additional resources, please send them over. We want to help curate as many pieces of information that are helpful to you in supporting your students. Thank you all and have a great week.
Thank you. And if you're a CUNY campus, we have a Campus Champions. So we would like you to join our Campus Champions as well if you're a CUNY staff member. Thank you. Have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your week. And we'll see you in the upcoming weeks on Zoom. Bye-bye.
Bye.